Looking back at the week that was. Today, I'm going to look back at the week. We're going to talk about a couple things and what we can work on for the upcoming week. Some reminders, some focuses, or, well, let's talk about where to focus at, what to focus on, and all of that fun stuff right here in this video, babe. Let's get right into it. All right, so pulling up the chart here. This is the 15-minute chart. I've been talking a lot about the 15-minute chart on the Nasdaq. What I'm focused on, right? I'm looking at the bigger picture. If you're not focused on the bigger picture, then what are you focused on? Sometimes we get too zoomed in, right? We're just too zoomed in, and this is a common problem. One of the things that I want, if you're watching right now, want you to do every morning, very simple idea. I want you to look at the previous day high, right? Always look at the previous day high, look at the previous day low, kind of figure out where we are in that range. So the Friday price action and then Thursday price action. So Thursday, we have the low down there. We have the high up there. This is the 15-minute chart. I got the VWAP. I got some EMAs on there. We got the previous day close, that dotted line right there, and the pivot points. All right, we got all that fun stuff. So we tapped the pivot point there on Thursday. We pushed up, but you can see how we created what? A big range there, basically, right? Top of the range. And you can see how kind of there's a middle of the range from Thursday, right? Middle of the range from Thursday, and kind of how price is reacting to that. I do think that there's something to be said kind of about the middle of the range, right? If you're in the middle of the range, that can act as support. It can act as an area of kind of price stuck, getting stuck, resistance, if it's pushing back up, things like that. So always keep in mind, look at the previous day, kind of see what's going on with the price action. Are we in the middle of the previous day price action? Are we hitting key levels? You know, what's the bigger picture telling me? Now, we had this idea last week as well that, you know, oh, the market can't go higher. It just can't go higher, right? Oh, we got FOMC, market can't go higher. And then on Friday, well, we saw it go higher. It made new highs there on Friday. Hopefully get some better price action coming up next week. But again, the big picture here, 15-minute chart, we're making higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. The market is moving higher. So the idea that the market can't go up anymore, that's a fugazi. It's fugazi. Nobody knows where the market's going to go. All we can do is just react to the price action that we see. So again, 15-minute chart. We're very like hyper focused on that 15-minute chart, the hourly chart. Again, what are we doing? We're putting in kind of higher lows, higher lows. This was FOMC there. But the overall trend, it's like higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. The market's pushing up. It's pushing up. We had D-Money here last week as well, and I wanted to kind of talk about this idea. You know, D-Money kind of really broke it down pretty good on the stream, talking about it, how he looks at these hourly candles, maybe the 4-hour candle, and just wants to kind of see what's the price action doing. Now, if you think about it, obviously, every 1-hour candle is 1 hour of price action. It's up, it's down, you know, just keep an eye on it. Now, the idea here is as we get closer to the close of that hourly candle, that's really going to be obviously kind of what that candle is going to do. You know, in the last 10 minutes, the last 5 minutes, we're watching to see, okay, like what is that hourly candle doing? Are we putting in a big wick there? Are we putting in a big wick? Yeah, we got a big wick on the bottom of that hourly candle. If we go kind of back to the replay here, you can see how this would have slowly formed here. All right. So basically we opened, we dipped down, and then we got right back up. Can't really like, let me see. I want to see this like 5-minute chart looks like. Get out of that for a second. Go back to the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart, this would have been, okay, 11:30. So basically the candle opens, it dips straight down, and then starts squeezing back up at 11:45. 11:45, we have a bull flag there on the 5-minute chart right there at the VWAP, 11:50, 11:55, and then there at 12, the market squeezes back up. That hourly candle puts in that big wick on the bottom. Now, if you look here, there's more clues, right? More clues. This 5-minute wick, we wick down, we kind of had like a bear kind of bear flag. We pull back. We put in a big wick on the bottom of that 5-minute candle. Remember, or think about this, or just know about this, right, guys? At the end of the day, if there's a big wick on the end of the candle, or there's a big wick there, that's telling me that there's buyers, there's support. Maybe I'm staying out of it. I don't want to be shorting, right? If the 5-minute candle has a big wick on the bottom there, it's not where I want to be shorting. Like if this next candle opens up, let's say the next candle opens up, we pull back and then we push back up. Well, obviously, let's say if it's pulling back here, like I don't want to be shorting down here into this wick. Think about that, right? Like if I'm going to be shorting, I want to be shorting like into a wick on the upside because that's a resistance. Let's say, you know, this 5-minute candle here, we have these wicks right there. Okay, we're like, we want to be short. So let's do it like this. That's our 5-minute candle. We go to the 1-minute chart and we can see how that 5-minute candle, that was the big wick. And then we have these 1-minute wicks kind of pushing back up, right? Pushing back up into that resistance. We get the sell down from there. Again, kind of back to that 5-minute chart. You can see here when we switch back from the 1-minute chart, what are we doing, right? You're shorting into that 5-minute wick. You have a big wick there on that 5-minute candle, so we're shorting into that. We're not buying into that. We don't want to be buying into that wick there as well. Same thing, you know, when we get these pullbacks, like we're waiting to kind of break above like a key wick or, you know, things like that. Some type of like nice move, right? We're looking for some kind of like nice move, I guess is what one way to put it, right? We're looking for like a nice move there to kind of push back up out of that wick. But again, it's like here's that 5-minute wick on the bottom of that 5-minute candle on the 1-minute chart. When we're looking at like trying to trade it, you can see how it looks a lot different, obviously, on the 1-minute chart compared to the 5-minute chart. But again, it's like I don't want to be shorting. I don't want to be shorting here. Right? It'd be like, okay, we have that wick. It's like, do I want to short here? Do I want to short here? Do I want to short here? Probably not. Because if I shorten it, if I'm doing all that, look what I'm doing. I'm just shorting into that 5-minute wick there. I mean, if you pull up the 15-minute chart, that wick's going to be even bigger. Same thing, right? Big wick on the bottom of that 15-minute candle there. I'm not shorting into that wick. I'm looking to short into a, you know, wick on the upside, I guess is one way to look at it. I'm trying to like find a short here to kind of show you. Oh, this is all like kind of just crappy crap. Price action lately has been poo-poo in the poo-poo. Man, that's not even that good either there. Where's a good bear flag here, chat? Where's a good bear flag? Oh my lord, this market. All right, I mean, maybe like, let's say this here. This is a 15-minute chart. We had this pullback. We put a big wick in there on the 15-minute chart. We start to get these wicks up here. We get back below the VWAP, and then we get this big wick there on the 15-minute chart. So let's look at this as kind of like a bear flag with this wick right here on the 15-minute chart, kind of being the idea of we want to be shorting, you know, into that there. So let me see if I find that again. Where did that go? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Trading View. Gotta love it sometimes. Well, I guess who knows? Oh, it's over here. Here it is. Good lord. All right. Again, going back, like remember, this is that kind of big wick that we had there. We'll talk basically that big wick on the top. You can see kind of shorting into that big wick. It's resistance. This is resistance here. And then that's that move down. We have a bear flag there again. Remember, guys, don't overcomplicate this shit. If the market's moving down like this, what do you want? If we're looking for a bear flag, if we're looking for a short, we want this to happen. We want the market to kind of push back up and build out a bear flag before moving down. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for a bear flag to get short when we break the bear flag. So I like to kind of do it with the idea of like looking for kind of the first candle to make a new low, I guess. So like these candles here got really tight. So there's like kind of your short entry there. We're below the EMAs, the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA. We're below the VWAP. We had the cross there and all of that fun stuff. I think we really just got to be very aware of that bigger time frame. What is going on with those wicks? Are we creating a wick on the bottom of the candle? Are we creating a wick on the top of the candle? Do I want to be buying, into a big wick? Probably not. Here, 5-minute chart, I have that little bit of a doji. It's like, do I want to be getting long right here? Well, if I know the market wants to pull back, or the market, moves in waves before going higher, then I can basically believe that, like, hey, we got this wick right here, so I'm waiting for a pullback, and then I'm kind of, again, waiting for let's say like a wick to give me an entry. Kind of worked out perfectly there. If we look on the 1-minute chart, you can see we dipped down below this low right there. We popped it back up and then started to kind of push back up, chopped around here some more. So just be very, be very patient. Wait for those opportunities where you're like, oh, look at that big wick there. Like, that big wick's telling me that there's support there. It's telling me that there's a possible reversal, off that low. We're at that key level. We had the previous day close and all of that stuff. As we push back up to the VWAP, there's our long entry. We get it up there, up to those 50% of the opening range and all that kind of fun stuff. You really just want to be buying. You want to be getting long, right, into a pullback kind of breakout setup. And you really want to be getting short into a pullback kind of breakdown setup. As the market is pushing back up and then breaking down, that's where you want to be looking for the shorts, and vice versa for the longs there. So for me, I'm looking a lot at that 5-minute chart. I'm looking at the 15-minute chart, kind of seeing what the opening range is doing, that 15-minute opening range. It's all there, right? Like, all this information is there. So I really want to be like, hey, okay, I want to ask myself as I'm looking for trades, like what I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, 15-minute chart, what's it doing? Okay, like we're kind of in there, we're chopping. Okay, we're above the 15-minute chart. All right, where's the VWAP at? Like, what are we doing with pivot points? Where's the previous day high? All of those things. I just want to kind of like walk through my checklist before I'm going into a trade. I'm walking through that checklist of like, okay, what's the overall trend? What's the higher time frame? What's the VWAP doing? What's the 15-minute range doing? What's the 5-minute chart look like? If I start out the 15-minute chart, I go to the 5-minute chart, and then I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. I like that reversal on the 5-minute chart. And then I go to the 1-minute chart, and I'm like, hey, if we get back above, the VWAP here, I think there's a good chance we could kind of push to the opening range high because of that kind of reversal setup. So when I see all that happening, especially like here, on the 1-minute chart, we had that big wick there. We had that. I think that's like a really great kind of little question to ask yourself before you enter the trade. It's like, did we take out a wick? Did we take out resistance before entering this trade? Well, we did, right? If we're pushing back up, here's our 5-minute candle, the bottom of that 5-minute candle. We have this kind of rejection wick. We have a bunch of wicks over here. So if we can take out this price action, basically like get through this area, and then there's that bull flag. Well, there's a pretty clear shot kind of until this next resistance up here at the 778s, that 15-minute range high. We're getting back above the VWAP. You can see the EMA is really cleaning up there as well and just kind of squeezing on up there. So kind of be aware. Be like asking yourself, like, hey, are we taking out some previous resistance? Are the buyers strong, or are we just chopping back up into like a level of previous resistance just to turn back down? So really just trying to be aware of what those wicks are doing. Where are we at? Bigger time frame. What's the overall trend? And just being patient, right? You don't need to take a trade on every single setup. You don't. I'm telling you right now, like God's honest truth. The best thing to do sometimes is just to wait until like that bigger time frame plays out, right? If I'm looking at the bigger time frame, like on the hourly chart, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, look at that. We got a big wick down. We took out these wicks there on the hourly chart. We're kind of bull flagging right here. You can see the high. Let's say, we go like this, be like, yeah, kind of breaking out, getting back above there, that hourly chart back above the VWAP and all that. So then I go to the 1-minute chart, I can kind of see where that would have broke out, which would have been kind of like a little bit cleaner here, but it would have been basically right here. So Ding, ding, ding. We're putting lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And then we start to push back up. We're starting to putting in higher lows, and we're making that push back up for that reversal. So I think the more time or the more patience that you can have to kind of wait for something to happen and then react to it and be like, hey, you know, we took out this low. We got that nice wick. We're starting to get price action back up. It's Friday. We got the previous day close. Like, having all that there is something to kind of be aware of and be like, hey, if that's all happening, well, then I might be good for a long here. Same thing on Thursday, right? Thursday, we sold off. I was actually short there on Thursday. We had a pivot point here, right? So again, it goes back to that idea of like, is something happening? What are we doing, right? We're tapping into that pivot point. We had some previous support there as well. So we're pulling back kind of into that, let's say, Asian lows there. We had the pivot point. We get back above the VWAP. We had this big wick there on that 5-minute chart. So I'm like, hey, if we get above this big wick there, let's say we get above this big wick, I'm looking for the longs at that point. So then I go here and I look at the 1-minute chart again. You can see kind of, you know, where I'm looking to get long. Kind of in this area to get long for the push back up, riding that EMA there, the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA, the VWAP there, and then the previous day close there on there as well. So if you don't have that on your chart, pull it up on your chart. Just go to settings, scale, and lines, and then look for previous day close there, line, ding, 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 cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for like something to happen, right? I want to see something happen, and then I'm looking to get in kind of idea, if that makes sense. I think it does. I'm just kind of going back over the last week here. It's been a wild week. We had FOMC. You can see the crazy price action there. I think if you look at the FOMC day, which is interesting, FOMC day, there actually was like rollover. We had a rollover gap. If you go and you get rid of this, right? So to adjust for contract changes, we had the new contract that is, this is the December contract. And look at how we had this like gap. Right, once we roll, everyone starts trading that new contract. There was a big gap there, and that did kind of fill there on FOMC day. I don't know if that's exactly why it did what it did, but it filled it. You know, gaps love to get filled. Again, it's just kind of it's just like looking for little clues, right? We're looking for little clues. It's like the market loves to like pull back, take out a level, and then go higher, or vice versa. You know, push up, take out a level, and then pull back. So if you can identify those levels, if you can see that happening, if you can kind of spot the trap, if you can see like, hey, you know, we're going down, down, down. We get this big wick on the bottom. We can kind of see how we took out that wick. We get back up here. We close pretty strong. That's like the first like bullish candle to push back up here. We break out, and there's our long entry there on the 15-minute chart. So 15-minute chart, the hourly chart. Don't be afraid to look at the bigger picture. Run the scenarios, right? Run scenarios. Like while you're trading, be like, okay, we're taking out, we took out the low. Like what would make sense now? We take out the low on the bigger time frame. We would then make a new high, kind of push back up here, take out that high, and just kind of run through scenarios, right? Okay, here we broke to the downside. We pulled all the way back to the overnight low right there at that pivot point as well. Okay, we push back up. Okay, I'm looking for longs now. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go through the setup and be like, okay, you know, what do we got? What are we looking at? Okay, we're breaking, you know, at open, we break straight to the downside. You know, a lot of wick there on the top of those 15-minute candles. You finally get the break to the downside right there. Woo! And kind of just chopped it back up. This is FOMC week. It just, that's how it goes. But the whole idea here is very simple. We want to identify kind of, is there something on the higher time frame that is kind of moving the market in a certain direction? If I see, you know, all-time high, if I see a big support level and we're pulling back into support, I'm just like, I'm not really biased in the sense that I'm long or I'm short every little trade. It's more like, oh, okay, wow, looks like the bears might have just got trapped. You know, those traps happen on every time frame, but those bigger time frames, the hourly chart, the 15-minute chart, those traps are going to just be even more, powerful to get that momentum to push back up or to sell off and things like that. So I don't know. We're just kind of talking. We're just trading and having some fun here live on YouTube. We got a big week coming up. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button. Tune in 9 a.m. live right here on YouTube. Peace to the Middle East.